Hey guys, Metal Viking 82 here, back with a new Viking Orations. First review of 2020, and what better way to do it than with a 2020 release. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the debut EP from the band Flesh Configuration, entitled Cursed Resurrection, put out January 18th through Vargeist Records. And if you are not familiar with Flesh Configuration, it is a three-piece, raw, technical death grind band based out of both North and South Carolina, as well as Mississippi. Not really sure when this project formed, but essentially it is comprised of all the members of Putrefying Cadaverment. You have Justin Wallace on vocals, who is also, as I said, of Putrefying Cadaverment, Wallace, Maggot Crown, among others. Blake Scott does guitars on tracks 1 and 2 here. Again, he is known for Putrefying Cadaverment. And of course, Jared Cave Moran does drums as well as bass on tracks 3 and 4 on this EP. And again, Putrefying Cadaverment, Maggot Crown, Inner Sphere, and like a whole list of others. I mean, this guy's got a ton of projects. But anyway, yeah, Flesh Configuration. This is their debut EP, as I hopefully I've already said. It is 4 tracks, and it literally clocks in just a little over 10 minutes. It's like 10 minutes and 11 seconds. So it's just short, sharp, in your face, boom, done. Now, right off the bat, it does not waste any time just hitting you directly in the face with blast beats and growls. Track 1, Conjured by Obsession, also has this kind of creepy voiceover that appears in there that sounds really fucking cool. Overall, this, in the 10 minutes of this EP, it is just filled with these frantic and chaotic sounding guitar riffs. And, they do have those moments where they kind of slow down a little bit to a nice little chugging style with some pinch harmonics thrown in here and there. The one thing I noticed, though, is that sometimes it seems like they get a little buried in the mix when you get into the really fast blast beat section. It just seems like they get pushed down a little bit, and they kind of get a little drowned out, mixed with not only the drums but also the vocals. And it seems like every song on here, there's only 4 tracks, like I said, they kind of start and stop with like a guitar squeal of some sort usually, or some feedback. And you'll be going along just really getting into it, all of a sudden you just hear this, and it's done. It's like, huh, all right. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Some things you never know. Sometimes, you get albums or EPs like this and bands like this, as you're going along listening to it, one song tends to bleed into the other, and there's no real pause to let you know, hey, this song's done, you're on to the next one. Because there's been times I've listened to stuff, and it just seemed like, man, this song is going along, forever, and I look over and it's already changed tracks, and I didn't even know. So, this isn't necessarily a bad thing on their part. I also really like the drum sound here. It's just very heavy. And the only thing I've noticed about the drum sound, though, is that some are probably going to be bothered by the snare sound as well as the kick drum sound here. Now, I will say this, they are not as bad as some that I have heard. The snare is not as near as tinny as I've heard some brutal death metal bands go, and the kick drums are not as clicky as I've heard some bands go. They do have a little bit of that kind of sound to them, but again, this is all about personal preference, but I don't mind it this time. I've had others in the past where I didn't like that sound, but this one doesn't bother me as much. But, if that kind of stuff doesn't bother you, then, hey, that's great. But I know some may not like it, and honestly, it just comes down to personal preference and your taste and what you like. Let's see here. Track 4, Dissecting the Human Viscera. It has this really weird, yet very cool sounding, kind of otherworldly sample or something at the very beginning of the song. It's kind of creepy in a way, but it works for the whole atmosphere of this song and just this EP. It's really hard to explain what it sounds very otherworldly, to be honest with you. But it's like, this very short sample, and then boom, it just pummels you, right after that, and just, ends the EP perfectly. Vocal wise, they're just, if you've heard anything of Justin Wallace's catalog, then you would know how he does things, and he does a nice combination of these deep guttural growls with some roars thrown in, and then these also kind of higher pitched, almost demonic sounding screams. I mean, it's just truly, he truly turns it into this very possessed sounding performance, I have to say, on this EP. Overall, it's a nice heavy dose of death grind. You know, if you don't have a whole lot of time and you just need something heavy real quick just to kind of get you energized, throw on this EP and it's sure to cure your little itch you got going on there. I give this a solid 8.5 out of 10. I will try to remember to leave a link to the Vargeist Records Bandcamp so you can check this out, as well as some of the other releases that he has put out. So yeah, Flesh Configuration, Cursed Resurrection, put out through Vargeist Records. Go check this out. You will not be disappointed if you are a fan of death grind. That is going to do it. Thank you guys so much for watching and subscribing. And until next time, stay brutal.